everyone. Nicole Carter and I are here today as your secondary language arts TOSAs, and we just want to walk you through the introduction to the Cadre and what that will look like for you. So for today, we're just going to walk through a little bit of welcome, who we are, some agreements that we have, understanding our purpose together, how to get onto Canvas, what that will look like, and then some timelines and next steps for everyone. So welcome. We are so happy that you are here and part of the Cadre. Just to name some things, one of the things that is foundational to the work that we are going to be doing and was so wonderful as we were looking at the applications that you put in was your commitment to equity. And so that's something that we as a Cadre really want to continue focusing on. The partnerships and elevating many different perspectives, and specifically our historically underserved communities. We want to make sure that our students are receiving the best curriculum that we have to offer as we are looking at through our lens as a Cadre. We also want to make sure that our place is safe and inclusive and affirming for historically underserved students, families, and I would add also for you as teachers. If you, like me, are identified as a BIPOC teacher or you come from multiple identities, we also want this to be a really safe and inclusive space for you as we go through this process together. So looking to make sure that our space together is one of learning and growing as a community. We also, as you have put in your applications, really want to reflect the diversity of our student body in our curriculum and in our work, in our best practices and how we serve our students. We want to make sure that our policies are also including all of our students, that they're serving all of our students, and that we're adhering to both BSD and ODE policies. And then, of course, as you are experts in the practice in the classrooms, we want to make sure that we are eliminating any of those gaps in access, opportunity, and expansion. One of the things that you'll notice is we started out with a language arts Cadre application, and we have since expanded it and included ELP into our adoption process because we think it's so important to have those kind of parallel as we move forward. So we worked really hard on bringing that together for this Cadre process. For the workflow, we have our K through 12 Cadre, which is you that are here with us, elementary teachers, middle school teachers, high school teachers, many different specialists. And then we are also going to be working with 5 different AVID classrooms throughout the district to have an AVID student cohort. This is the first of its time for Beaverton, and we're really excited to pilot that and really hear from our students. We also have the project team that will be elementary, middle, high school classroom teachers, specialists. We will also have specific student members that may be from the AVID cohort, may be from outside, parent community members, school administrators, and a school board representative. And of course, our school board will be with us throughout this entire process, supporting us and also being the ones at the very end approving what is recommended as we move forward. So what is expected of you as a Cadre member? There's just a few different things we want to go over today. For secondary, some dates to be aware of and what we're going to ask you to do is for the next one, which is November 9th, and we know this is coming up fast, is to be prepared through Canvas, and we'll go through that in a minute, to talk about ours as a community, who we are, what we bring, who our students are. We're going to be looking over our position paper. We're going to be doing a crosswalk activity. We're going to create some working groups and get to know each other that way. And we'll have kind of an action item that we really want to start drafting or revising our old position paper, depending on what we think is our best use of our time. Then in December, we're going to have some quick Zooms before school for middle school, after school for high school. And this will just be a touch point for time with you and us as TOSAs. And don't worry, you were not going to have to do work necessarily during that time, but that's going to be a real check-in for some asynchronous work that we're going to be giving you via Canvas. We're going to be looking to review and revise workshop and position paper and ask for you to do some listening, both in your building and perhaps other language arts teachers in the district. We know the Cadre cannot encompass all of the voices that we want to hear from. And so we want to make it a point to kind of reach out to other teachers to make sure that their voice is heard through this Cadre process. In January and in February, we have those PD days from 12 to 3 that we'll be meeting with a whole group, elementary and secondary, where we'll be looking and drafting our best practices, perhaps revising our old ones, also drafting and or revising our learning targets. And then in March, again, we'll have another kind of Zoom check-in where we make sure kind of that our learning targets, our best practices, and our position paper are where we want them to be before we have revisions to send them to the school board for approval. And throughout this process, as we said, we're piloting the student cohort. We'll be kind of communicating with them and hearing what they have to say through this entirety. As we kind of transfer into talking about Canvas, which Nicole's going to take over in just a minute, we just want you to be thinking through our BSD equity lens. We want to, of course, break the predictive link between student demographics and student success, and we want to apply this principle of equity to all of our departments. So as we are interacting, which means yes, in person on November 9th, but also before that via Canvas when we are interacting online and thinking about the research that we're reading and looking at our old adoption, we want to think about whose voice is and isn't in this decision that we're making. Who does this decision benefit or burden? Is this decision in alignment with our BSD equity policy? And does this decision close or widen the access, opportunity, and expectation gaps for our students? So Nicole's going to take over and walk through a little bit of Canvas and show us what that looks like. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, so we have provided you with the Canvas course link and or added you to the Canvas course already. So you just need to go ahead and hit the green button to accept entrance into the Canvas course. We want to make sure that you understand that Canvas for us is just going to be a big filing cabinet for us to put all of the resources that we talk about, whether it's through Zoom or in any of our face-to-face meetings. But a lot of the asynchronous work that we're doing, or all of the asynchronous work, will be housed through Canvas. So as I kind of open up the Canvas page here for you to see, you'll see that we start with our equity questions, any quick link access to some of the main important documents that you'll probably be referencing again and again, as well as some of the important dates. Elementary does have access to this course, but for the most part, it's probably going to be just our secondary cadre members that are going to be participating here. You have the ability to click the Get Started button, which will just take you into modules, or obviously you can hit modules on the left-hand side navigation. Once you're in here, you'll see that we have given you access to any of the research that is on a Padlet that Rebecca has kind of put together with the help of some of our other cadre planning members, team members. And we will eventually have the home groups updated and listed. Those are going to be your main points of contact and smaller group breakout sessions that we'll be doing. So you'll get to know people on a more closer basis and know who your contact is, whether it's me or Rebecca or someone else on the team. As we take a look at what we are asking you to do before we come together for our in-person meeting in November, you'll see that we gave you access to the agenda and slide deck on this page here. Also gave you the access to the Zoom, but I don't know that many of you are accessing the Canvas through to get here. And then we gave you access to the Cadre bio slides. That's one of the first things we want you to try and accomplish before November. It just leads you into the slides, but then I think we might not be going in and double checking constantly on the slide deck. So if you do finish, can you just write finished or done so we can kind of track as people get done? As you navigate through the rest of the module, the second step is to go ahead and take a look at all of the research. We have been, or Rebecca has been, really diligent in marking out how much time we think you should allocate for each of these items, and provided the specific spaces where we want you to kind of jigsaw out some of the research, because there's quite a bit here. It is a discussion post, so we did ask that you do a couple of entries on what you've actually read, and then also responding to the peers. Rebecca and I will be participating as well, and hopefully modeling that behavior for you guys. Additionally, before November, we also do have that what do you notice, what do you wonder, on what we did for our last adoption cycle. And that again is another discussion with the prompts on what did you notice and what could we have done in the future. I think that's kind of it for right now, but just remember that you can come back in. Sorry, I should have gone into the modules. You should be able to see in the modules for upcoming events, all of the research and additional items will be added into each of the modules beforehand. So we'll kind of, and a reminder, Rebecca and I use Canvas all the time. So if you have any issues or questions or comments, please feel free to ask us. We also have access to Chris as our Canvas TOSA. And we are trying to model a little bit use of Canvas. And so as you are a student in the course, if something doesn't make sense, please let us know.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I know I've taken some Canvas courses, and you always learn so much as a student when you're doing things like that. As we always want to remind everyone that who is working online, although the Canvas discussions are called discussions, we really want to highlight that we're using them more as a dialogue. So if you look at this slide here, this idea of dialogue on the right really focuses on collaboration, relationships, shared meaning, discovery, curiosity, building relationships, honoring each other. So back to our idea of equity and back to our idea of creating an inclusive space, both when we are in person and online, we just wanted a reminder that we are really working together towards a common goal and a common good, that we most likely will have disagreeing philosophies and ideas, but it's really important for us to work together as BSD teachers in order to kind of bring the best out for our students. So something to remember as we are posting both online and just interacting in person with each other. So secondary, Nicole already kind of walked through this wonderfully. To do before, you'll see it, that bio slide, just click like done. And I think I already have mine in there and we've done, so you can kind of see what we're looking for, be creative, all of the things. We just want to get to know you. Doing that reading and research and then reviewing past adoption. Again, we know this is not the ideal way we wanted to do our cadre. We were hoping for subs and those long days where we could be together. And we do know that this was a really big ask. We know how busy you are as classroom teachers, but we also know that this work is so important. So we want to thank you for that and just honor your time and want to make sure that you feel supported through this entire process. So please communicate anything to Nicole and I as we move forward. And I think that might be about it. Just as we end here, Naomi Ortiz, if you're not familiar with her, is a poet and disability activist. She identifies as a person with multiple identities as well. And she has this wonderful quotation that the greatest transformation happen when we make time to reflect on what is possible. So I'm so excited and feel honored to be a part of BSD and in this position to work with so many wonderful people like you, because it is exciting to see what is possible, how we can better serve our students, how we can take this time as kind of learners and move forward as professionals. So thank you so much for your time. As always, reach out to us. And we just thank you so much for the time that you're spending here and the time that we know that you're going to be spending before November 9th and throughout the year.
And one last little tidbit, the November 9th location is actually here at the new district office in one of our downstairs location rooms. So that is one thing that's happening at night, right? And we'll provide dinner for you, but it is here at the new district office as far as the location. Okay.
Wonderful. See you then, everyone.